What's up, fellow go-givers, and happy 2025. Definitely excited to be with you this evening. And look, what I want to talk about today is a discussion I had recently with one of our business partners. And it was like a text exchange. And the question that was posed to me was, look, what are KPIs? What are key performance indicators? And I'll be transparent with you. I was a little bit surprised by the response, because it's something I take for granted, right? As a B2B professional that has been working with small business owners and entrepreneurs and dealing with sales managers for about 20 years, I just naturally assume that people understand that there are certain activities that you need to do on a daily basis in order to be profitable, right? And these activities, these key performance indicators, determine whether or not the ball is moving forward or not, right? And why is this important? Because look, you could be busy checking off items off the to-do list, and you can feel like at the end of the day, you've expended a lot of energy, but you didn't move anything forward, right? We've all been there where you've done all these little administrative tasks, and maybe you've read this and checked this email and did this and did that and did that and the other, and you look up and it's like empty pockets, right? Understanding key performance indicators is what creates the predictability in your business. It's locking in on the activities you need to do on a daily basis to make sure that you are finding people or attracting people to your business and your services. It's making sure that you are delivering the information in an effective way. It helps you track that. And if you are delivering information in an effective way, how many people are actually onboarding with you and acquiring your service, and how many people are coming back with referrals, right? So I've kind of indirectly given you what are the key performance indicators for me. So the key performance indicators for me, and I'm going to speak specifically to individuals with PPLSI, right? One of the organizations I work with. Key performance indicators for me are going to be exposures, right? So I'm using a certain type of diction here. Exposures. What's an exposure? I track how many times I invite a new person to learn about who I am, what I do, what the nature of my business is, right? And I may use a video, I may use an audio, I may use a website, but I'm going to utilize some type of tool, some type of media to communicate my value prop, because I don't want to be running around doing this all day because I don't have time, right? I can send a video, I can send an audio, I can send someone to something, and I can send that audio out to 50 people, as opposed to trying to have 50 conversations, right? So I collapse timetables, which is very important in business. So that's one of the KPIs that I track. The other KPI that I track is how many presentations are taking place. So, okay, I've invited someone to learn about what it is that I'm going to do. My objective is to get them to the presentation, right? The exposure is just the invitation to learn what it is I'm doing, right? It's almost like when you go into a restaurant and they give you an appetizer, right? To see if you want more of it, right? Before they actually just take the entree and slap it on your table, and they then spend hours and hours preparing this entree, and you turn around, taste it, and you decide, not for me, right? I'm not about that life. Well, that's what exposure does. So my goal is to get the appetizer in front of someone to see if they like it, right? It reminds me of the Kicks commercials back in the day. Mikey likes it. Mike said, like, I'm dating myself in respect. So that's what I'm doing. That's one of my KPIs. And then I get them to a presentation. A presentation can be via Zoom, belly to belly, eyeball to eyeball, me sitting down in front of somebody, giving the presentation, which I think is the most effective presentation, right? Because you get to demonstrate the social evidence. It's just hard to communicate passion. It's hard to communicate interest. It's hard to communicate a lot of different things when you're doing Zoom or over the phone. But if I'm belly to belly, eyeball to eyeball, and I can shake somebody's hand, and I can look them in the face, and I can either back up or I can close distance to find out whether or not there's kind of like a mutual affinity there, right? All that fun stuff that goes into human interactions. That's always going to be the most effective way to give a presentation. It just is. And of course, it gets even better if I can get them into a large room, a large briefing, right? Where there's a multitude of individuals receiving the information, because once again, that's collapsing timetables as opposed to belly, eyeball, one-on-one. I want to get 5, 6, 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 people in a room, and I can shake all their hands and have the communication and all the body language, social evidence, all that fun stuff. But I digress. right? The bottom line is I want to get someone in front of a presentation. So that's one of my KPIs, right? My next KPI is whether somebody enrolls or not. And obviously I'm tracking how many people enroll, because if I know my closing ratio, that tells me a lot about my process. People do business with folks whom they like, know, and trust. So if I'm doing exposures in such a way where people are not running for the hills, right? Aliens are not abducting people. I invite people to learn about what it is I'm doing. And if I'm giving a good presentation, a great presentation is not necessary. A good presentation is necessary. What's a good presentation? Just be accurate, right? And just have fun what you're doing, and make sure it doesn't last 2 hours, right? That's all a good presentation is. People get caught up in the presentation. People get caught up and, trying to sound perfect, and nothing wrong with looking to be excellent. But the bottom line is, trust me, the person sitting in front of the room or sitting in front of you, they don't know a bad, a good, or a great presentation. They just know what a presentation is. You just want to be effective, right? So sometimes we put a lot of undue pressure on ourselves. But anyway, once again, I digress. So you want to make sure you give a good presentation. Or if you have audios, you have videos or tools, or third party, which is always the best party, somebody else giving the presentation, even better. Because that means you can be the person ushering people in the room. They give the presentation, and if they decide to make a positive, affirmative business decision, like they decide to do business with you, you receive the compensation, even better. But so I track the number of presentations. I already said that. But here's the thing I really track. Aside from whether or not someone says yes, right? And if I'm not getting enough yeses, and I know something's wrong either in my exposure process, or something's wrong in my presentation process, or maybe even my edification, right? Am I edifying the presenter, or am I edifying the tool, right? But anyway, like I said, I don't want to digress. I'm trying to stay focused so this doesn't last 30 minutes. So I track referrals. Because if I've given a good exposure, if I've given a good presentation, whether someone makes a positive or affirmative buying decision, yay or nay, if they see value in what it is that I'm doing, then I'm going to ask for referrals. So those are my KPIs. I will ask for referrals. For me, it's the most important KPI, because referrals ensures that I'm not cold calling, right? If I do a good job in the presentation process, I do a good job in the exposure process, someone makes a decision to become a client, then the bottom line is this. I take good care of that client. They like, know, and trust me, right? They're going to give me referrals the majority of the time. Some people may give you 3 referrals. Some may give you 10. Some may give you 5. I've had people give me as much as 60, even 300 referrals at one time. But hey, it doesn't happen if you don't ask. You never know. You just ask, right? Who do you know that you want to help? I always ask people that question. And sometimes I switch it up. Like, who do you know that if your car was broken down at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning in one of the worst neighborhoods in the city, and it's sleeting and ice and snowing, and AAA ain't picking up the phone, and et cetera, who are the first 4 or 5 people you calling first? Because typically those people are going to be the folks who love you. They got your back, 1,000 grand. So if you ask them to simply take a look at something on your behalf, they're more inclined to take a look, right? So that's one of the questions I'll ask. But while I'm talking to a person, I'm forming them. That's another training for another time. Because I'm talking to people, I'm forming them. So I'm learning about their family, their occupation, their recreation, their motivation. So I'm learning about the people in their orbit. Those are people I can ask for as well when I ask, who do you want to help? All right. I may ask, who do you know that's a business owner that cares about their employees? Because I'd rather give a presentation in front of 50, 100 employees, or even 10 employees than one person. It's the same 20, 30 minutes. Or who knows a business owner? That's space I love. I love B2B. Because I believe business owners are our ideal clients. Business owners have employees. Business owners have family members. They have family. And they have businesses. It's wonderful. Anyway, so I asked who the business owner. Then I'll also ask, who do you know who's a go-getter? I'm building a business. No different than a football team. No different than an orchestra. No different than Starbucks or your bank or the tax and accounting firm or insurance agency down the street. I'm competing. They're my competition, not other PPLSI associates. No, my competition is the banks, other organizations that are competing for talent out there in the marketplace. I want that talent too. Right? I want a team of individuals that I can work with to spread these services and help level up our community and empower people, right? So I'm going to ask, who do you know that's a go-getter? Who do you know that's entrepreneurial? Who do you know that's the plug? Always talking about financial solvency, always talking about financial independence, entrepreneurial development, business development. There are individuals who are out here in the marketplace or out here in the community, always talking to people about something that involves helping people level up. I want to know that person. Who do you know who just can't sit still? Who do you know who's a social butterfly? Who do you know who likes to talk to people? Who do you know who has the gift for gab? I want to know that person, right? And I don't know whether or not they'll take an interest in what I'm doing, but if I invite them to learn what it is I'm doing and it does resonate, if it does vibrate with them, then I got a potential partner I can go out and build with, right? And so I track that. How many referrals am I acquiring, right? So tomorrow I have a couple, I think 2, 3 presentations, belly, eyeball going on. And after that presentation takes place, I'm going to ask them, who else do you know that could benefit? Whether they make a positive mind decision or not. Now, this creates consistency. Because if I know how many individuals I need to expose, so let's say I need to have 10 people take a look at a piece of information to get 3 to seriously look at it. So they actually look at it. And I know for every 3 individuals who look at it, 1 person will say, you know what? I am interested. I would like to learn more, right? Then now I can become very systemic and I can begin to predict my income, right? Because 10 people say they're going to look. Let's say 3 actually look. 1 says, I'm serious about learning about this. But this is what I know internally. I know if a person gets a taste of the appetizer and they decide, I want to learn more, something's triggered, right? They have a need. They have a desire. They're looking for a solution. They may not know how it's attired, but they've learned that we could possibly be, we could be a resource. We could be the solution provider. So I know there's a high chance that once they see a presentation, they're going to go ahead and become a client. But let's say for every individual, for every 3 individuals who actually look at the presentation, 1 becomes a client. And if I'm earning 100, 200, 300, 500, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, just pick a number, right? Then I know, right? If I approach 100 people, I invite 100 people to learn. Make the numbers even bigger. I invite 100 people to learn. 30 of them say, yeah, I'm willing to learn. 10 of them agree to a presentation. And then out of the 10 that agree to a presentation, 3 enroll. And if I'm earning $600, if I'm earning $200, let's say $200 per yes, and 3 out of the 10 say yes, because 10 took a look, then that means I earned $600. That basically means for every 100 invitations, I'm earning $600. So then I don't focus on the number of presentations per se, because that's determined by the number of exposures. I don't even focus on the $600, because the $600 doesn't happen absent what? The exposure. I focus on the exposures. I'll focus on how many exposures can I get out? How many times can I iterate? How many times can I get 100 people to take a look at what it is I'm doing? Now, that could be 100 times over the course of a day if I want to earn $600 a day. That could be 100 times over the course of a week if I want to earn 600 over the course of a week. I mean, that could be 100 over the course of a month. And if I want to earn $600 over the course of a month. Now, those of you who know me know I'm way more assertive in terms of what I want to earn. And so the only difference between me and other individuals is I tend to run through my exposures faster than everyone else. So I get faster results. That's all there is to it. And over the course of time, I've sharpened my skill set. I've sharpened my experience stack. I've sharpened my talent stack. All these different stacks, right, that come into play to determine your success. And we all come to the table with different stacks, or sometimes even different deficits, right? But the focus is 100. Now, can I get better at presentation? Better at closing? Yep. Because what I know is, once again, if someone looks at an exposure or a tool and decides they want to learn more, 9 times out of 10, the presentation is just confirmation. They already know they want to get it. Right? So maybe the closing ratio turns up. Maybe instead of 30% of people saying yes, maybe it's 40, maybe it's 50%. Maybe you build up to that. Maybe you're more gregarious than I am. Maybe you're friendlier than I am. Maybe you are better when it comes to interacting with people and develop those warm, yummy feelings that people like, know, and trust you, right? And maybe you have that, right? You're more sociable. So maybe it doesn't take you 100 exposures. Maybe it takes you 70 exposures to get a certain number of people to be willing to take a look at a presentation and make an informed decision? Yes, right? All that goes into play in determining your success rate. But the bottom line is you need to know what your KPIs are in order to create predictable income. I think part of the reason why people don't do the activity is because you really don't know what kind of activity, how frequently you need to do the activity to bring about the desired income. I said income, desired outcome, which will result in income, right? So this is the answer I really wanted to give the person. I was going back and forth via text message when she asked, what are the KPIs? Why are they important? And I share my KPIs, but I didn't have the bandwidth to really go into detail, right? So I have a formula that I typically share with individuals. And of course, I acquired this formula from somebody else and I've been utilizing it ever since. And I really love this formula because it really simplifies things, right? Let's say your goal is $1,000 per month. Let's say hypothetically, you keep the numbers round and simple. Look, and don't front. Extra $1,000 a month, that's extra $12,000 a year. If you already have a job or a gig, or if you're in school full time, or you're just looking to earn some extra from home, extra $1,000, extra $12,000, that's a zip code change. Let's not mess around, right? That's upgrade your vehicle. As frequently as you want, pretty much. That's a down payment on a home, 3-5 years from now, depending on what market you're in. So let's not, some of y'all about to be trying to act funny over $1,000. Please don't play, right? There are a lot of people in 2025 where the extra $1,000, it could be a lifesaver to their family. Anyway, if you want more than that, adjust the numbers. But let's say you wanted to earn extra $1,000. Well, you divide that extra $1,000 by your average compensation. So let's say your average compensation was $100, right? So you divide 1,000 by 100. Then you would turn around and you would divide that. Let's say your closing ratio wasn't that good. Let's say it was 10%. And that means I did not not focus on my phone about to ring and disrupt this. It's going to be amazing. In respect, let's say your closing ratio is 10%. So you would take 1,000 and divide it by 100, and then you would turn around and you would divide that by 0.10, which is 10%, right? And then you would turn around and you divide that by the weeks per month, which averages about 4.33. So you would divide 1,000 by 100, then by 0.10, then you would divide that by 0.433, right? And then you divide that by the number of days you want to work. So let's say the number of days you want to work is 5. So to earn $1,000, you would need 4.6 presentations daily. Or another way of thinking about it, you need 4.6 people to look at a presentation. Because keep in mind, you can give one presentation to 4, 5, 6 people, right? But that's the bottom line. You need 4.6 people looking at a presentation, or 4.6 people who are at a position where they can make a buying decision, right? And it's just a real simplified formula. Now, obviously, if you're earning more, average compensation instead of 100 is 200, the number of those presentations change. What if your closing ratio goes up? I firmly believe that the average Joe can get to 0.3%. 30%, so 0.30. I firmly believe that, particularly with our company, right? You can get to that. You can't convince me otherwise. Why? Because the statistics are already out there. There's a reason why we had 2 companies come together and spend north of $1 billion to partner with us. They were looking at those ratios. They know how many people make a buying decision when they're exposed to our information. So with that being said, I am going to go ahead and number one, celebrate your success, celebrate the fact you're willing to sit and listen to this. And hopefully it serves you well in 2025. And for those individuals who may have additional questions, or if you want more content like this, you know what you need to do, right? You can hit the like button. That lets me know and algorithm know that this is beneficial. And so sharing is caring. It helps spread the information amongst our compadres and people in our ecosystem. Or you can share it with individuals directly. That's super cool as well. And look, I celebrate success in advance. What I was getting ready to say before, if you want more information, you know how to reach me, right? You know how to DM me. If you're receiving this, we know each other. or you're somehow subscribed to one of our channels, reach out to me, let me know, and I will definitely produce more of the content. Or if you want to have more of a one-on-one type coaching situation, it's all good too. My information will be in the notes. With that being said, have a fantastic 2025. Again, celebrate success in advance. Let's level up. Goodbye for now.